Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Dan Cave and welcome to On the Bench January 2023. So, first bench update of the new year, and it's going to be the same format as I normally do. So, no surprises. January 2023 bench update. First up, we're going to have a look back at what was finished in December in a little bit more detail than I looked at in the end of year review. So, you'll already know there was three kits at the back end of last year, which were kind of covered in the end of year review. I'll have a little bit more of a in depth, not in depth, but a little bit of a deeper look at a chat about what I finished in December of 2022. Let me look at what's been bought. A couple of kits have come in the back end of last year. A look at what's in progress, and then a look at what's coming up, because there's a couple of group builds coming up, so that may feature on what's coming up soon. Probably a little bit of a chat about video plans as well. Nothing new or different, just to give you a little bit more information about what's going to be coming soon on the channel and stuff like that. So, general thoughts on end of year. Yes, I got to the end of the year. 21 kits done. Not that the number matters at all, but pleased with what I produced towards the end of last year. Obvious kind of steps into next year. I spoke about kind of some of the group builds that are coming up this year and some of the things that are going to feature. I think Le Mans is going to feature a little bit this year because it's a 100-year anniversary. So I think that's from my point of view and interest in cars, that's relatively big deal. So there's a few Le Mans kits I would like to try and get done. Le Mans kits that I would like to try and get done. So I'll talk about that in the what's coming up. So quite a few videos have come out recently from me, so that the Jordan 197 is out there, both parts of video build series. Inbox review of the new Sierra, I'll mention that because that came in December, so that's one of the things that's been bought. And I'll have a little bit of chat about some other video builds coming up a little bit later on towards the end. So let's dive on over and have a look at what's been finished. So let's head on over. So let's start the what's been finished, what's been built in December. So what do I start with? I start with the Chevelle, the Revell Chevelle SS396. So without a doubt, I think this is the best of the Revell muscle cars that I've built. It really does go together well. Big top marks to Revell for this kit. So it's in some ways it's not too far out of the box. I've managed to use some wheels that I'd left over from a previous Pontiac build. Another Revell kit, so they've been used on that. They were de-chromed and painted in satin black. The overall scheme is black, 2K'd with the yellow stripes, which is Daytona yellow. Everything's been de-chromed. Everything's been kind of muted, toned down a little bit, apart from the big glaring yellow stripes. Under the hood, I've pretty much kept it stock. Got some HT leads, but the motor itself is pretty much stock from the box. Interior kind of matched black, yellow striping, similar to the exterior, and then I've gone and tinted the rear window as well and the side windows as well, just to give it a little bit of a darker kind of look from certain angles. So really kind of pleased with how this has come out. This was a very quick build. It was done for Paul's kind of annual birthday / Christmas build. He suggested the subject. quite a few of us took part, and it's a good kit. So it was an enjoyable build, if a little bit kind of quick. But then that's why I kept it a relatively simple build, relatively simple idea behind it. Squeeze it in amongst some other projects. So that was number one of what's been finished in December. So next up in December is the Tamiya 135th SAS Jeep. So my little bit of a foray into armour building. So that, you know, £10 kit. Honestly, you couldn't kind of want for kind of more fun from a tenner kit, really. Really enjoyable just to kind of dive into some different techniques, kind of adding in like a little bit of weathering, stuff like that, different weathering materials than I maybe normally use. So, you know, some of the kind of washes, the muds from MIG Ammo, pigments as well, a little bit of figure painting, just a kind of very different from my usual kind of type of build. So I must say I'm very, very pleased with how this went together. Complemented with a little bit of a, oh, it's not a dio, it's just really just a base for it. So just a very basic kind of sandy base with a few rocks just to frame the Jeep a little bit. So very, very pleased with that. There is an edit of this as a video build that's going to be released hopefully in less than a week, because it's pretty much done and edited, so more detail will be in the video. It's a relatively short video. Armour is not my specialist subject, so I don't want to, it's not a tutorial video, it's more just a log of how I've put together this particular kit, because this is not really my subject area. But nonetheless, I did find doing this build really interesting and really enjoyable. And funnily enough, I've got a few other armour kits lying around the stash which will be visited at some point in the future. So, but pleased with this as a finished build. So that is number 2, and then number 3, which kind of bookended the year quite nicely. Finished on the 30th of December. Was the Tamiya 24th scale Nissan GTR Skyline. So fairly standard from the box build. Not actually built one of these Skylines before. Had started it quite a while ago. Bodywork was cleaned up, but it was put back in the box and set aside because some other projects got in the way. Finally got back to it in December time and managed to get the body painted, and before you know it you've kind of finished it all completely. So, but yeah, a little bit of a rush. I'd kind of hoped to get this done before Christmas, didn't get it done, so went away on holiday for a week, came back and had 2-3 days to finish it off. So yeah, there was kind of a bit of a rush to get it done, which is fair enough. But I kind of wanted to get that complete and off the bench. So primed in UMP grey, I think, and then base coat of Gravity Bayside Blue. Gravity 2K from Spain, Gravity Spain 2K. Not really much else to say. Wheels were de-chromed and then painted in Alclad Pale Gold, I think. Can't remember the exact colour. Just having a quick look, see if I can spot it. Yeah, I think it's pale burnt metal, I think it is actually what I used. But other than that, pretty much a fairly bog standard box build. But an enjoyable kit. Now, interestingly, I have an Aoshima R34 as well, but the Mines one. Will be interesting to build that at some point to see how that builds up compared to this, because this just, you know, pretty much drops together. Despite being one of their older kits, despite being one of their cheaper kits, there are kind of no real bad points to it. It goes together fairly straightforward. Nice little build to do. Very enjoyable, but nice to get it finished. And don't be an idiot like me. When I did the clear parts, I masked all the windows separately, only to find out after they were painted that there's actually a mask set in the box. I just didn't spot it. So, but as ever, these things happen. Just a wasted couple of hours masking up this particular windscreen and glass parts. But yeah, all good. Nice kit, very enjoyable, and ended the year pretty well. So that is it for what was built. Next up, it's all about what's been bought. So what did I buy in December? So there's quite a bit. So a few kits kind of ended up towards the end of December. Went most of the month because obviously before Christmas didn't do a huge amount of kit procuring. And then yeah, ended up actually doing it. So the first things that came in were both D-model kit Sierra. So both boxings, they'd been pre-ordered earlier in the year. So they finally got sent through. There is a bench review of the top kit in the picture if you want to go and have a look and find out a bit more about what's in those particular boxings. And then just after Christmas, before the New Year, just went out for an afternoon and paid a visit to Jadlam down in Glastonbury and picked up these 4 kits from Jadlam. So a couple of older Tamiya kits, the Celica GT4 and the 911 GT1. One of Bell Kit's Polo WRCs and the 320i from Nunu. So all kits that I'd kind of had my eye on and kind of wanted to pick up at some point, and finally got around to getting them. So added to the stash, and they will feature at some point in the future. So that's it for what's been bought. So up next is the what's in progress. So what's in progress at the moment? So first up, as a few people will have seen if you follow me on Facebook, the Mercedes 190 from Fujimi. So this is progressing very, very nicely, very far along. So bodywork has been painted, deckled, clear coated, polished. That's now fully hardened and polished. Running gear, chassis and interior are done. And I mean, this is one of the areas where the kit really lets itself down. Now the bodywork has issues. There are some shape inconsistencies in the bodywork. For me, these windows don't look deep enough. I think the side skirts end up looking too long. The shape of the arches doesn't seem quite right. Kind of looks like a 190, but not, not completely. But when you get to the interior, it's just so simplified. I mean, the roll cage is a vague attempt at a roll cage. The seats are from the road car. Yeah, it's just not really it's just not really a proper interior of a race car. There's some vague bits of stuff. A radiator control, bits of control boxes, ECUs. I think they've just been randomly placed in there to make it look a bit like a race car. But that's about as close as it gets. I mean, the underside is basically curbside. Nothing of note, but then that's not a big problem. Never really look at that anyway. So yeah, so that's pretty much all you get. Actually, the wheels are posable. So that's a really poor interior. So for me, that's just not a focus of the car. It's not even worth looking at. I have added some seat belts and some buckles. Again, that's more just to give that hint of a little bit more realism, but to be honest, yeah, it's just not particularly good interior to work with. I've seen simpler kits which pull off a more representative interior than this one does. This just, I don't know, it's just got like the road gearbox, the road handbrake. Yeah, it's just not right. But, it's a video build, it's going to be out there, it's going to be done. I do like the scheme. I think it will look alright on the shelf once it's all buttoned up and, the windows are tinted or something so you can't see the interior. No, that's joking. So, but that is there. That's progressing nicely. I need to do the masking for the rubber seals around the windows. And then that'll move on to the kind of final assembly, clear parts on the outside, interior clear parts, all that kind of stuff. And then that one will be done. So next up in progress is again something I bought, I wouldn't say on a whim, but bought just because I like the look of it, slightly out of my comfort zone maybe, my normal kind of aircraft builds. So this is the 148 Edward Profi Pack BF109. Which boxing have I got? I have got the F4. So this, I would say, this amount of build of it. So basically you've got the cockpit painted, photo etch added, all that kind of stuff. Fuselage buttoned up, a few external bits of PE, wing assembly, radiators, flaps, slats, all that kind of stuff. So all that pretty much went together in just over a weekend. Now for this build I've kind of adopted more of a, I'll call it an armour style of building. Normally stuff like flaps and radiators I paint all the internals first, but looking at how it went together I just thought actually I'll just put them all in there. It's probably going to be prime black. We'll get primer into those recessed areas, and to be honest you're not really going to see any detail in there anyway, so not overly bothered about painting the inside of the flaps or painting the inside of some of the radiators, because they're not really clearly visible areas, so not too worried about that. Main kind of external areas need to get the undercarriage doors prepped, undercarriage prepped itself, but certainly the doors, and that means I can then focus on getting the primer coats down, correcting any flaws, further primer coats, and then get on to actually the base colours. But this has progressed quite nicely. I think there's still a little bit of sanding to do in places, but so far so good, it's looking okay. There's a few areas where I've retouched some, some scribe panel lines, added back some rivets, but altogether it's gone together pretty well. I mean, I think this kit is beginning to show its age. It's a good kit from Edward, it goes together well, but you can see a few elements of kind of flash and seam lines on the moulding, so it's probably been printed so many times or moulded so many times it's beginning to show its age. But there we go, that is one of the in progress kits as well. So next thing in progress is going to be a very sneaky view only. That one. So this is the 1/8 Pontiac Firebird from Revell. So that's it, it's a magazine build. You're not going to see any more of that, but it's in progress, so there we go, I've mentioned it. And that's it for stuff that's actually in progress at the moment. So let's go back to me for future thoughts. Back to me. So, future plans. The Le Mans group build started. It started on the 1st of January over on the ISM group builds. So as you can see from the in progress, I've started-ish, did a bit of cleanup on the GT40 from Fujimi, so that's a reasonably good start. with a good fair wind, there'll be a couple of others as well. But I'd like to do a few kits for the Le Mans Group build, so I'm kind of looking forward to that. 50 Shades of Grey, haven't decided on whether I'm going to do something for that or not. Because as you saw in the in progress, that 1/8 scale kit is there. Although I didn't go into detail because I can't go into detail on it. It wouldn't be fair to the magazine that provided it, but you know it's there, you know it's in progress. So that's going to take up quite a bit of time. So I might skip the 50 Shades of Grey. There's the LFA, which is over there as well, for Gary Pashley build in February. And that's the short-term plans. But with that, there's going to be a number of video builds will come out. The SAS Jeep is in editing at the moment, nearly edited. I'm hoping to get that finalized in terms of editing this week and then get intro, outro and voiceover done. Then the final edit, render, proof, watch it, and then upload it to YouTube. So that's hopefully going to be this weekend, maybe over the weekend. I have all the footage for the Chevelle as well, which was in the What's Been Finished. So again, I may package that up as possibly a single part video, because I did not a huge amount. It went, fairly, completely black, satin black on all the chrome trim, black interior. That might get nicely packaged up as more of a single part video, or a single kind of video build. And the Merc 190, which I spoke about, so that is being recorded again. That's not going to be a long series because actually once you get into the chassis and the interior, there's not a huge amount in that kit. So that's probably going to be trimmed down quite a small bit. Main video will focus on, kind of prep paint, decals, 2K, throw the chassis bits together because they're so poorly representative of a kit that it doesn't kind of warrant a long video build or a long kind of segment of video footage. So that's progressing towards the end. Yeah, and that's kind of exactly where I am with kind of video stuff at the moment. So that's the plans and the planned kind of releases that are coming up soon. Other stuff I'm going to video build, I don't 100% know yet. Some stuff I do end up recording, just ditching because I don't want to do it as a video build. Some stuff I don't record and build it and wish I did. So, what comes out is somewhere in between the two of those, I guess. So that's the kind of video build. So, future plans, covered all the other stuff. So really we're kind of at the kind of natural stop point, really. I didn't want this bench update coming so soon after the end of year kind of review of 2022 to actually take up that much time. But I think I've covered everything in a reasonable amount of depth. So yeah, I think I'm at a fair kind of concluding point. So if you're not a subscriber, I have to ask, please subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, but please subscribe if you can. For those who are already subscribed, thank you very much for being a subscriber. And for anyone watching, regardless subscriber or not, please like the video if you can. Any comments, leave them in the link below, and I'll do my best to answer it if it's a question. If it's just if it's just a nice comment, I will say thank you if I can. The number of comments seems to be increasing, so you need to keep on top of them, but I do try and respond to everyone individually. So thank you to everyone for their feedback so far, and let's keep on driving forward into 2023. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for sitting with me and listening to the ramblings, and I'll be back in hopefully the Jeep video in the not too distant future. So thanks a lot for watching. See you all very soon. Bye bye for now.